Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings, and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wilding in the stand. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gonna be our year. We're here drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring. Yeah.
Calm down, Jeff the Lefty. We're back. We're here. Welcome back to Royal Rebounds, the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans, by fans. The Kings win tonight, 113-103 over the Oklahoma City Thunder. We see Tyrese Haliburton set a new career high in assists. Another good game for Mo Harkless. Fox, Bagley, and Davis all sit again. We'll talk about De'Aaron Fox. We'll talk about Marvin Bagley. Sean Cunningham will be coming on the show next week. And we're going to talk about a couple other things as well, but we'll be right back with your Kings Nightcap. We're here, we're drinking beers, and we're talking about your Sacramento Kings. If you're a Kings fan, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you enjoy awesome Kings content, please hit that subscribe button to join the Royal family with Calvin and I. We put out fresh Kings content almost every single day. We have a show on Fridays where we sum up basically a week of Kings action, about 30 minutes. We also do live streams after every single game. So we would really appreciate it if you do hit that like button, if you do hit that subscribe button. It really helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm, and we would greatly appreciate it. This is your Kings Nightcap. As I mentioned, Kings win tonight, 113-103 over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Calvin, first thoughts on the game tonight?
I'm glad they won by double digits because I was ready to lay into this team tonight. I mean, yes, Tyrese career high in assists, Mo Harkless another good game, Kings win. Those are all good things. But man, they were playing a junior varsity team out there tonight, and they almost let them come back.
They were. What's up, Key Kings? Gothen, Trade, Derek, welcome. Cole, I see you there. Mike, Jeff, I don't know if you're still here, if you left to go get laid, as you said, whatever you need to do. But hey, we're here, we're having fun, and we're talking Kings basketball. Yeah, the Kings did win tonight. It feels pretty good. I don't want to rub it in, Calvin, but I just got to say, I'm 2-0 when I do keys to the game.
You got it the rest of the season, man. Hopefully the Kings end up with the 3rd seed in the West.
Are we rooting for wins at this point, though?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're rooting for wins. Yeah, we're rooting for wins. This team is just so frustrating, man. Like, every time I watch them, it doesn't matter how many good things they do. I just get so frustrated watching this team play.
What's up, Charlie? Haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for joining us on a wonderful Saturday. Sorry I'm a little red today. I got burnt at the beach today. Pretty bad. It was cold in the water, Calvin. It's wintertime.
I wouldn't know. I haven't been in the water in quite some time, actually.
You've been working too hard, man. You've been working way too hard.
New tattoos. Can't get in the water.
And that as well. So as I mentioned, another great game for Mo Harkless. This is his first double-double of the season and a season high with 11 rebounds for him, 18 points, a couple really sweet dunks for him. That, pull down and over. Yeah. Oh, man. I had a lot of fun watching this game. We saw Davion show up again. Tyrese Haliburton played well. But as you mentioned, it's all about the team they're playing, right? Like, this team seems to play up to some teams, down to other teams. We were worried about this game after the losses to the Pistons and the Rockets. But, hey, the Kings win. They're right back in the race for the 10th seed, Calvin.
Yes, they are. They sure are.
I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
Well, but, we'll see what the trade deadline brings us, but it doesn't seem to be a good thing right now.
Should we go over your keys to the game, or should we do my key?
Well, I think we already know what your key was. But go ahead, toot your horn, get it out there.
I mean, my key's pretty easy. Basically, you score more points than the other team, and 2-0, Calvin, when I do the keys of the game. Just
That
saying.
is true. 2-0. So Barry will have complete control here of the keys to the game for the rest of the season until, of course, the Kings don't score more points than the other team, and then I'm assuming you'll give it back to me. But my keys to this game were, number one, they had to crash the glass. They gave up 16 offensive rebounds to the Thunder the last time these two teams played. Much better today. The Kings out-rebounded Oklahoma City 47-41. It was 7 apiece on the offensive boards, so they definitely did a better job there. Number two was protect the paint. Oklahoma City is the worst three-point shooting team in the NBA. They scored 56 points in the paint the last time these two teams played. Unfortunately, Oklahoma City scored 56 points in the paint again tonight, but luckily, no SGA, no Lou Dort. That probably was the reason that Oklahoma City didn't have enough firepower offensively to get over the top here in this game. And then number three was get Tyrese going early. You know, he had just come off a couple of not bad games, but like mediocre games, I guess we'll call them, for what we expect from him at this point. He didn't shoot well at all today, but I felt like they did get him going in a positive direction early. And more importantly, him and Rashaan Holmes were connecting a lot early on, and that led to a career-high 17-assist night. We saw him get a little more aggressive there in the fourth quarter, looking for his shot. And, you know, he did enough for them to get the win tonight.
Yep, I agree. What's up, McCamey? Good to see you. Jim, welcome back. I love your comment here. It's amazing how much better you play when you keep hearing you suck all the time. It also helps when you're playing a shitty team.
I guess what you mean by that is when the expectations aren't that high, it's easy to meet them, which is totally fair.
Yep. What's up, Al? Good to see you here. All right, Calvin, let's do box score. Because I like what I saw tonight. I really do.
Yeah, all 5 starters in double figures tonight. Harrison Barnes, another very steady game for him, leads the way in scoring 24 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. He was a little bit of everywhere for the Kings tonight. As you mentioned, Mo Harkless, double-double, 18 points, 16 of them in the first half, 11 rebounds, 4 of 8 from 3. This is the Mo Harkless that the Kings have been needing all season long. Better late than never. You know, I guess. Davion Mitchell, another pretty solid game, 17 points, 7 of 15 from the floor. And then Tyrese Haliburton, 13 points, 17 assists, 6 rebounds. He did turn it over 4 times, but a 17-4 assist-to-turnover ratio is still pretty damn good. 5 of 13 from the field. And the bench, they played 4 guys off the bench, 9 total tonight. Nobody really had a huge game, but they all were pretty steady. Damien Jones with 7, Buddy Hield and Metu each with 9. And we got to see Alex Len play 8 minutes tonight as well.
I was just going to mention that. Funny thing is, you look at the box score here. Alex Len's the only Kings player without a steal tonight.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild, man. You don't normally see that. I mean, look at 3 steals for HB, a steal for Mo Harkless, a steal for Rashaan, 1 for Davion, 1 for Jones, 1 for Hield, 2 for Haliburton, 3 for Metu. Lots of steals tonight.
True. Kings still managed to turn it over more times than the Thunder, though.
Kings doing Kangs things. Anybody you want to highlight on the Oklahoma City Thunder? I know you like Josh Giddey a lot.
Yeah, Josh Giddey. I mean, honestly, I really wasn't as high on him as a lot of other guys coming out of this draft. You know, he was as advertised when he got drafted or when he first started playing in this league. Very, very good playmaker, really high basketball IQ, scoring and shooting, not quite his forte. However, since SGA and Lou Dort have missed a few games, he's really stepped it up, and I was very surprised to hear during the broadcast tonight, he's won every single Western Conference Rookie of the Month award this season.
Wow.
Every single one has gone to him. He's played very, very well. But again, this is what I'm talking about here at the top with, yes, this is a win, but how good do you really feel about this win?
Yeah.
Because this is a Thunder team that is, there aren't many teams worse than the Sacramento Kings, but this is definitely one of them. They're playing without their 2 best players today, their 2 best offensive and defensive players.
Yep.
Josh Giddey has played really, really well this year. I don't want to take anything away from him, but he's not a scorer They let him go 10 for 19 today, 24 points, 1 of 5 from 3, 18 points for Tyrese Bagley, 16 for Terrence Mann. I'm not saying that these guys can't do this on any given night, but it's just like there's always the other side with the Kings. It's like, how happy can I really get about this win?
I mean, the rookie of the month thing or whatever, like I couldn't think of a better team set up to have a guy win rookie of the month, right? Like,
it's the youngest team in the NBA.
Yeah, nobody's winning rookie of the year on Sacramento if they're coming off the bench, any of these other teams. So they are set up perfectly for that. And it's funny that you mentioned they're missing their 2 best players. I have to say, Calvin, this is probably the first win the Kings have had this season where the other team is missing their best player.
Yeah, well, and again, that's because this team without their 2 best players is so much worse than any of the other teams they played without their 2 best players.
It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. One thing that amazed me was, so this team made the playoffs, I think it was a year and a half ago with Chris Paul on the team, right? Then they hit the reset button. Well, actually, they hit it before that. They traded for Chris Paul just as a salary dump move. But they have 30 picks over the next, 6 seasons, which is gross. Incredible. And you talk about the talent they have in Lou Dort and SGA. Josh Giddey is going to be a really good player. And the amazing thing is he is their first draft pick since they've tanked or started this rebuild. So to have those 3 guys to build around plus 30 picks over the next 6 or 7 years is going to be pretty interesting to watch.
Well, they're in a really good position for one of the bottom dwelling teams of the league. That they have set themselves up. It's what we keep talking about with the Kings. It's like, what's the next move here? Are you trying to get better talent on the roster right now, or are you trying to play the long haul game for the future? And the Kings are right in the middle of that. Oklahoma City is light years ahead of them.
But it's just wild to think that during this whole 15 seasons of the Kings missing, this team's got James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant.
Again, that's another thing that we've talked about.
They made it to the finals, and then they're already in this rebuild process with all this talent, all these assets stacked ahead. The Thunder remind me of the Oakland A's version of basketball, right? It's the money ball, where they have paid guys big contracts, but a lot of guys, they move them before they have to pay that contract, or they move them while they still have that value, and they end up acquiring all these young assets. They've been drafting pretty well, which, the A's do pretty well. And then the guys go on to win championships and succeed in other places.
Yeah. And they're, again, in a tough spot. They don't have a ton of money to throw around, which is why they couldn't keep Westbrook, Durant, and Harden together for a long time. But you mentioned it. I mean, it's drafting well and hitting on your draft picks. That's the reason that Oklahoma City is in the position they are today, and the Kings are in the position they are today. Yes, the Kings have done a good job drafting very recently, but they didn't draft Kevin Durant. They didn't draft Russell Westbrook. They didn't draft James Harden, which allowed them to then get people like Paul George and flip all of those guys for the abundance of picks that they have now today.
Yep.
A small market team, you got to take advantage of. You have to hit on your draft picks first and foremost. If you're going to be a lottery team every year, you got to hit on your draft picks. And then you have to use those assets in the right way, and you can't let them expire, right? Like everybody got on Oklahoma City, or a lot of people got on Oklahoma City when they traded James Harden and decided to keep Serge Ibaka. Yes, James Harden went on to become one of the greatest or one of the best players in the league. But ultimately, I think that they needed to make that decision at that time. It was not an easy decision to make.
Yeah.
And you can argue that in the long run, it didn't help them because they eventually deteriorated and are now, the team that we see today. But they also have all these draft picks because there's a rhyme for every reason, and the Kings just aren't in that position yet.
They could trade for anybody in the entire league if they really wanted to.
Yeah, they have all the assets.
Maybe not Giannis, but if Giannis said, I want to go to Oklahoma City, they could make it happen. They could literally get anybody. Want to give a shout out to Tanvir. Thank you, buddy, for joining us. Hopefully you will catch us next week, 8th and 9th. We will be at both Minnesota Timberwolves games. I also want to give another shout out to our guy, Fred. Fred went to the game tonight. He wore his Royal Rebounds hat. Thank you, Fred. I hope you enjoy that cap.
Thank you, Fred.
And
shout out to Tanvir, by the way, in the chat.
Yeah. I also want to remind you all, if you enjoy awesome content like this, if you want to support the channel, if you want to support the Kings and creators that love the Kings, make sure you visit royalrebounds.com. It's right below here. And you can check out our shop. We got shirts, we got hoodies, we got hats. We got a lot of fun stuff. So make sure you guys check that out. Looks like Jeff the Lefty is still here. You didn't leave to go get laid? He likes what Barnes brings.
A lot of jokes that we could make right now, but I'm going to save them, Jeff.
We'll save them till we're here in person. Have you downloaded the Golden One Center app yet?
I have not. Have you?
I have it, but I haven't entered in any of these giveaways. Apparently there's like this new thing where there's all these accomplishments you have to do, and one of them is attend a game. And apparently they gave the code tonight. It is Barnes, Barnes, all capitals. If you put it in the Golden One app and you do that, that will mark off an accomplishment of going to a game, I guess.
Even if you don't go to the game?
That's what they were saying online. So I don't know. Check it out. Check it out. Oh, man. Khan. I'm going to call you Khan because, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your first name, but I'll give you a shout out.
Shout out Andre Nicotina. Khan.
Goffin. Oh, man. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Oh, Jeff, you're awesome. All right. I also wanted to give a shout out to my guy, Mark Jones.
That's right. He's back.
Who?
Mark Jones.
Yes. He had some awesome lines tonight. He really did. He said, so this one's for Tyrese. When Tyrese had 14 assists, passes, set a new career high, he said, dropping dimes like a bank teller. That's a good line, man. I like that. And then a second line, after Tyrese has this smooth layup, it's got to be jelly because jam don't shake like that.
He goes to that one a lot now.
Yeah, I like it.
It's good.
I like it.
It's good, but he uses it all the time.
We still got to do the Kings bingo. I showed you the bingo sheets, but we got to do like a Kings bingo during one of these games and see if we can check it all off. Maybe you have to like take a shot each one. Or, I don't know. Shot of beer. I don't know. But I think the one question that everyone really wants to know, Calvin, is who is your king of the night?
Man, that's tough. Honestly, I mean, you know, it's hard to pick against Tyrese with a career-high 17 assists. His total game, you know, was really great. Other than the shooting, just didn't really shoot that well. But Harrison Barnes, the guy has played, he's been a rock for them, like these last 3, 4, 5 games. Another 20-plus point game, super efficient, 9 more rebounds, 3 steals. It's pretty much splitting hairs between them, but I'm going to give it to Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like what Tyrese did, but Harrison Barnes stepped it up, scored a lot, and he's been playing a lot better lately. He really has.
He's been playing great.
So we got to give him some praise for that. Gotham says, got to use maybe that will get Buddy going. I saw a meme that was poking fun at Kyle Draper because Kyle Draper, I like him. He gets excited in the wrong moments, I feel like. And it was this meme that was like, Kings are down 30, Buddy hits a 3, and Kyle Draper goes, okay, Buddy, let's see if the Kings can make a run here. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's not an easy job, so I get it, but.
We're going to talk about trades in the next section, so just stick with us here, please. We're going to finish up this game recap, and then the next section will all be about trades, De'Aaron Fox injury, and a bunch of other exciting announcements.
Thank you, Lane.
Make sure you guys stick with it. Shout out, Lane. What's up? Yeah, Calvin's got the bun going. It's a good one. It's finally you reach that stage, right, where you can just
I'm almost there.
Put it back, and it's not.
You guys can't really see it. I still got a bit of stragglers here in the back, but
It's like a bun.
It's pretty close.
It's like a bun. What is that called? The redneck haircut where it's just all hanging up.
A mullet?
Oh yeah, it's like a bun mullet.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I'm glad you guys can't see it.
It looks good though. All right. Anything that really stood out to you in the team stats tonight? I know you were talking about turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, the turnovers were not good. Like, I don't think anything really stands out to me. The Kings did exactly what they needed to do to win this game. They just didn't play. They played a complete game because they won, obviously, but they should have won this game by more. I mean, I don't want to be too negative, but 30 assists is amazing. 13 steals is great. They shot over 50% from the field again. 47 rebounds, 56 points in the paint. They led by 17 at one point. But they just continue to have these lapses, whether it's defensively or offensively. Second quarter was awful. They had a ton of turnovers after a great first quarter. I mean, I guess it's like, what do you really... The Kings are a bad team, so it's like you can't be too... You got to take what you get, basically, right? Like a win is a win. I get all of that stuff. But I look across at the team that they were playing today. The Kings, even without De'Aaron Fox, they're so much more talented roster-wise than the team they played tonight.
Yep.
And in the first quarter, you could see it. They got almost any shot they wanted to. The ball was flying around the court. It was moving from side to side. They were attacking. They were getting to the rim. They had open threes. They had everything. Didn't turn it over once in the first quarter. End up with 16 turnovers for the game because you just let this team get back into it.
The thing that stuck out to me, and I don't mean to be negative either, but it's the free throw shooting. Again, below 70% again. I know they only missed, I guess you could say, 7 free throws, so maybe I'm just picking it or nitpicking. But even in wins, there's things that you can improve on. And I feel like you need to look at all these things together collectively as a team, and you need to say, okay, we won this game, but like you said, we should have won by more. We can still get better. We can do better. Free throws really stuck out to me. Al, we're going to give another update on De'Aaron Fox in the next section, but he did not play again tonight. His ankle is bothering him too much. If you're curious, we posted a video yesterday of our interview with James Ham, the Sacramento Kings insider, and he talks a little bit more about De'Aaron Fox and his discussions with him. So make sure you go check that out, and we will talk about that in the next section as well. All right, so officially 20-35 on the season, Calvin. We're right there, dude. We're right there. Right out from the 10th spot.
Right there.
Right out from the 10th spot. I also, I like the Mo Buckets nickname. Did you hear that one tonight?
Now we're taking Buddy's nickname and putting it on Mo Harkless.
Yeah.
Now, Mo Harkless is the best player on this team all of a sudden.
He said Mo Buckets, Mo wins, Mo minutes.
Mo problems.
Oh, man. I mean, one thing that we've been really adamant about on this channel is that when players aren't playing well, we call them out. And when players do play well, we like to praise them. It's not a one-way street here. You know, we don't hate anybody that's on the Kings. We really don't. Kosta Koufos is off the roster, so I officially don't hate anybody on the Sacramento Kings. But I praise them when they play well, and I'm critical when they don't. So I got to give Mo his praise. He played well. And I'm calling him Mo Buckets for the rest of the night.
He has played fantastic for them these past 3 games. Fantastic. Like, literally, it's what I said earlier. This is the Mo Harkless that this team needed right from the beginning of the season. And, you know, it's not, I'm not saying it's all on him. Like, there's a lot of different factors that go into that. He was in the starting lineup, then he got taken out, then he wasn't playing at all. And, you know, so it's hard to get into a rhythm, you know, when that stuff is happening or when you don't really know how much you're going to play on any given night. But the way that he's playing right now makes them a different team.
Yeah.
It doesn't make them a playoff team necessarily or one of the better teams in the Western Conference, but it makes them a much better team.
And he's trying hard, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That he's aggressive. Part of me thinks that whatever leg injury, I forget what it was, a thigh or it was some leg injury he was dealing with earlier this year. Maybe it was hampering him a little bit more than, he kind of led on to it or whatever. Same thing with Harrison Barnes, I think, with his foot injury. But it's when he plays aggressive defensively and he can actually knock down an outside shot, you see him getting to the rim. I mean, that's a very, very different wrinkle that the Kings normally do not have, Yeah.
What's up, Patrick? What's up, Steven? You guys still want the Kings to make the 10th seed? I'm interested to hear why. I mean, I'm not rooting for them to lose games. It's just interesting to hear how adamant you are about just got to make that spot, make the play-in, because just because you get there doesn't mean you make the playoffs, right? And that's everybody's goal, has been making the playoffs. And it's kind of been a constantly moving barrier. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Jim wants to talk about Buddy Hield. Another awesome game for Buddy Hield tonight, Calvin. 9 points, 3 of 6. He was 2 for 2 at halftime. Is he just not getting shots because he doesn't care? Are people just not giving him opportunities? I mean, normally we see Buddy Chuckets throwing up 20 shots a game. It seems like he's just kind of been taken out of the offense recently, and I don't know if that's something that he's doing or if it's game plan or if it's players, but I want to hear your thoughts on Buddy Hield.
Well,
20 minutes tonight.
I think he's still getting touches. He's not maybe getting as consistent of minutes played as we would, normally expect from him, whether it was in previous years as a starter or even earlier this year when coming off the bench. But I also think that it's more of a, I don't know if maybe he's trying to play within the offense more, but yeah. I don't see him taking the ridiculous shots as much. This is very recently, like within the last 2 weeks, basically. A lot of times, if Buddy has been out on the court for 3-4 minutes and he hasn't gotten a shot attempt yet, you'll see him catch the ball, whether he's 2 feet or 36 feet from the basket, and you can tell it's as soon as the ball touches his hands, it's how quickly can I get the shot up. I haven't really seen that a lot from him as of late. And I don't know, there could be a lot of things that go into that. Maybe it's, like you said, he doesn't care as much. Maybe it's he's trying to play within the confines of the offense more. I really don't know. Like, I think it just kind of speaks to the same thing that we all talk about Buddy Hield all the time with, and that's inconsistency. A lot of times we talk about it, whether it's good play or bad play from him.
Yep.
But at the same time, it can be just inconsistency in, is he engaged? Is he trying to play within the offense? Is he just chucking up shots?
We heard a lot from James Ham the last time about Buddy Hield and his effort and wanting to be there.
Yeah. And I mean, I think you can visibly see that pretty easily for somebody who isn't really that connected to the team at all or doesn't talk to these guys on a regular basis whatsoever. He has that kind of mentality about him anyway. Like you listen to his interviews, people ask him tough questions all the time, and I think a lot of times he gives good answers, but just the way he talks, it's like, you and I live that island lifestyle. He's from the Bahamas. Like it just, everything kind of rolls off his back. Like he doesn't really care.
Yeah.
That's the perception that he gives. I'm not saying he doesn't care at the end of the day, but
Patrick, we're going to talk about tanking in the next section. We're going to have a good discussion on it. So make sure you stay tuned with us because we got a lot to say about tanking, winning, losing, where the Kings are at this point and where they should go. But we're just going to wrap up this section first. Yeah, I mean, it's really frustrating. I don't know if this is hurting Buddy's trade value at this point or not, but he clearly doesn't want to be on this team. I feel like other teams in the NBA know that he's a good three-point shooter, and, that's not something that you lose overnight, right? Like, maybe there are just crazy outlier experiences in the past, but a guy that can shoot 40% for his career doesn't just forget how to shoot. I mean, I don't want to say the Markelle Fultz.
He didn't shoot 40% from three for his career, though.
That's not even related to this situation, so please don't bring that up. But he just needs motivation. And that's the thing, is he's not motivated on this team. He's asked to do things that he's not he's not asked to do things that he's good at. He's asked to dribble the ball. He's asked to, create for other guys, and that's just not what he does. That's why he ends up.
I'm not so sure he's
turning
being
the ball
asked
over
to do that much on this team, though.
I mean, who do they have to handle the ball off the bench at this point? He's
right now, yes, but he's been doing that well before Davion got into the starting lineup.
Yeah,
well before.
That's true. Maybe he just wants to do more. What did James say? There are certain players that just think they're better than they are.
Well, I don't want to criticize James Ham, but every professional basketball player should think that they are better than they are. That's what it takes to be a professional player. You have to think that you're really good in order to get to that spot. Now, yeah, you get to that spot and you realize, if you're not a star right away, you realize, oh shit, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was, or this is harder than college was. But that's part of the mentality of being an athlete.
Yeah.
Is I'm really good. Try to stop me, because you can't.
You gotta have that. You gotta have the confidence.
That's what it is.
You really do.
I think what he was saying is that you come into the league and you view yourself a certain way, like Miles Turner views himself as more of a primary option offensively, somebody that you can run offense through, run plays through. 5-6 years into your career, if you're not the go-to guy, you're not going to be the go-to guy.
Yep.
That's just the way it is, which I think there's a lot of truth to that. But the mentality of thinking that you are the shit, that should never go away for any player.
Yeah, you got to be that killer, but you also have to understand that you're not the best player on the team, and that you're there because you're good at certain things.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. What's up, Sean? Good to see you, man. I'm glad you made it back. Oh, how many air balls the Thunder had? I don't know, but they was
did put
a
up
lot.
A bunch.
It was a lot. Anybody else you want to talk about on the bench tonight? I mean, Damien Jones didn't have a huge game, only 7 points tonight, but he played really well in the last couple games. I really like what I've seen from him. And, he didn't miss tonight. 2 for 2 from the field, 3 for 3 from the free throw line.
Yeah, got into a little bit of foul trouble.
His role doesn't seem to be consistent enough. We talk about, the inconsistencies in his play, but when you're getting 3 shots one night, 10 the next night.
You can say that for 97% of the players on this team.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that's not named De'Aaron, Tyrese, or Davion, what is their role on this team?
Yeah. I mean, you could even say that with those 3 guys.
I mean, yeah, you can insert in a certain way, but at least those 3 guys know that when they get out on the floor, they know it's expected of them, and they know that even if they turn the ball over a couple times or if they are missing a bunch of shots, they might get taken out of the game at that point, but they're going to come back in. The rest of these guys,
no clue.
You get taken out of the game, you have no idea if you're coming back in at any point.
You might
or
not
if you're even going to get on the floor to begin with.
You might not even play the next couple games.
Exactly.
It's so puzzling. It really is. Like, I've been in management roles before, and I'm not saying this is exactly what it's like being a head coach or whatever, but one of the most important things when you're a manager is clear communication with your staff and your employees and letting them know what you expect. I don't know if this is just I just need you to be ready. just be ready. When you're ready, I'll put you in there. But it seems like a lot of these guys are kind of left in the dark, and they don't really know what to expect. And maybe that's part of the business of basketball. I'm not quite sure. But it really does make it hard to be consistent when your role is not consistent, your minutes are not consistent, your shots are not consistent, your team is not consistent, your coaching staff is not consistent. So it just compiles on itself over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think the adage of be ready when your name is called, there's a lot of truth behind that in sports in general. But I don't remember many teams that have had this much disparity in the total number of people that they play and the consistency with which they get played. And I understand injuries, COVID protocols, all that stuff play a big part in this. Like the Kings have missed a lot of their key players for multiple games throughout the course of this season, whether it's due to injury or COVID. And that, of course, doesn't make a coach's job easy by any means. And then you add the fact that they've had two different head coaches this season also, and that is going to change things as well. Well,
Three of them.
Yeah, I guess Doug Christie counts, but I'm just going to kind of brush that one aside. That being said, it's one of the, Coach Walton, before the season started, he came out and he said, we're going to play a ton of guys. He even said we probably could play 13 guys, but we're only going to play 9 or 10, on a given night.
Yeah.
9 or 10 on a given night, that's a lot for most NBA teams.
Yeah.
But this team has just never gotten any type of consistency all year long, whether it was from the individual players playing or the coaching staff and how they were going to design those players playing.
Yeah. I also feel like most teams, when you hear that phrase of, be ready for when your number is called, is on a good team, right? Like we all talk about those classic Cleveland teams or Miami with LeBron James, and it's like James Jones is amazing. He hasn't played for 10 games. He came in and he hit these big shots, and he's probably not going to play for another 5 to 10 games again. LeBron has had multiple guys like that have followed him throughout his career. But I feel like when you're on a team that's constantly losing games, like the coaching staff has to kind of like shuffle guys, figure out what's working, and then kind of go with that, right? Like, and maybe that creates even more tension and more disruption in guys' minutes because you have one bad game and the coach is like, oh, got to go with a different lineup, got to go with a different player. So it's kind of a two-way street, right? Like having trust in your players that they're following the system. It's like poker, right? Like maybe I didn't win this hand or this game, but I made the right move. So I need to keep doing that. Like I love what I saw from you tonight, Damien Jones. And I'm going to put you in tomorrow as well, depending on, what the matchups are. But it doesn't matter that you missed 3 or 5 shots tonight. All the shots you took were good shots. I love your positioning, stuff like that. I'm going to continue to play you. But it doesn't seem like any of that is happening.
No, it doesn't. And not all teams are built the way that the Kings are built. They basically have a ton of players at point guard, a ton of players at center, and then a mixture of everybody in between. So that adds to the fact of you're like, as a coach, you're always wondering, who do I play at point guard tonight? Who do I play at center tonight? I mean, you're not always wondering who do I play at point guard when you have the point guards that they have. You just stagger their minutes. But center particularly has been a huge question mark for them all year long. Part of that is because Rashaan Holmes has been hurt. He's missed a bunch of games. He hasn't really regained the form that we saw from him last year. And then behind him, it's just a complete guess. It's like, well, we're playing a team that's got a lot of big guys tonight. So, Alex, you're going to play a bunch. Tristan, we brought you here for your energy, your effort, your veteran leadership, your hustle. We're going to play you tonight because the team looks like they're not, moving quickly or first to the loose ball or whatever. But now we haven't seen him in however long it is.
Yeah.
Then Damien Jones emerges, and you're like, should he play more?
In fantasy football, right? Like this year, I had so many good wide receivers. It's like, who do I play every week? I got A.J. Brown, I got Cooper Kupp, I got Odell Beckham, I got Ty Hilton. I got a bunch of these guys, and I don't know who I'm going to start because I only have this many positions, and I like everybody.
Yeah. Well, imagine if you were playing in reality and you had all of those guys sitting on your bench.
And they're all yelling at me if they don't get time.
At you. Yeah.
It's not an easy job.
No, it's not easy at all.
We all sit up here and we talk about, you got to do this, you got to do that. This person's got to do this. They got to play better. It's much harder than, we make it sound. And I don't want you guys to think that we don't appreciate everything that everybody does. And they are working a very difficult job. So we understand that too. All right, Calvin, anybody else you want to talk about here? Anyone you want to highlight, maybe on the bench or anybody else before we move on? How about Rashaan Holmes?
Rashaan played better tonight, but it was a good matchup for him. Yep. Oklahoma City does not have a ton of real inside threats. They're pretty they're not a big team. The guys that they do play are, he definitely had a size advantage, a weight advantage inside. Mm-hmm. You saw that when they posted him up a bunch of times. He definitely took advantage of Tyrese getting to the basket, getting some easy lobs. So hopefully he can get some confidence going and build off of this game.
Yeah, I've heard that there's a lot of teams in the NBA interested in Rashaan Holmes. I think number one on the list would be the Charlotte Hornets. But if the Kings do decide to move a guy like Rashaan, there is a lot of suitors that are willing to take him on and potentially give up a first-round pick and possibly a young player as well. I enjoy having Rashaan on this team. I do root for him. He has been through a crazy tough stretch of games. But, he loves Sacramento. His family loves Sacramento. He re-signed with us. We took a chance on him. He's played really well. I love the contract that he's under. I really hope he doesn't, move on to another team. But I am happy to see him getting back in a rhythm. 25 minutes tonight, 6 of 7 from the field, 6 rebounds, 14 points. I want to see him play much better than this, but it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely.
Were you surprised to see Alex Len tonight?
Yeah, I was surprised just because we haven't seen him in forever. And again, we're not playing a necessarily big team here. So, but Rashaan Holmes and Damien Jones both get fouls early. You got to go to somebody else after that. So,
yep. All right, Cal, I think I'm ready to move on. I think people are ready to talk about trades. They want to hear about what's going on with De'Aaron Fox, Marvin Bagley. We're going to talk about tanking. And we also have another special announcement for you guys. Ready to move on?
Let's do it.
All right, guys. We're going to take another quick break here. And when we come back, we're going to dive deeper into your Sacramento Kings with Around the Crown.